I was the governor of Judea, the hand of Caesar in a land that hated Rome. I ruled with law, with fear, with compromise. But no man had ever unsettled me like he did. They brought him to me early, too early. Their eyes burned with hate, but he looked like a lamb, wounded, bloody, silent. They accused him of calling himself King of the Jews, a challenge to Caesar. They claimed a threat to Rome. But he didn't look like a rebel. He looked like a man who had already won something far greater. "Are you the King of the Jews?" I asked. He answered, not with defiance, not with pride, but with a calm that chilled my spine. "You say that I am." He didn't beg, didn't try to save himself. He looked at me as if I were the one on trial. I turned to the priests. I wanted logic, evidence. But they only shouted, louder, angrier. "He stirs up the people. He claims to be the Son of God." The Son of God? That title struck something deep inside me. Something ancient. Something I didn't want to believe. Then my wife sent word. "Do not touch this man. I've suffered terribly in a dream about him." Claudia wasn't a woman ruled by superstition. Her fear was real. I saw it in her eyes later. Even she knew something was different about him. I thought I could free him. I offered them Barabbas, a murderer, a real danger. Let them make the sane choice. But they screamed, "Give us Barabbas." So I tried again. What shall I do with Jesus, who is called the Christ? Crucify him. The voices grew louder, frenzied. It wasn't justice they wanted. It was blood. I looked at him again. Blood on his face. Crown of thorns piercing his brow. But his eyes had no fear, only sorrow. For me, I asked him, "Where are you from?" But he said nothing, and something about that silence. It echoed louder than any scream. Frustrated, I warned him, "Don't you know I have the power to release you or to crucify you?" He looked at me and said, "You would have no power over me if it were not given to you from above." That moment broke me, because deep inside, I knew he was right. I wasn't in control. Not really. Still, I wanted out. I wanted to be clean of this. So I called for water. I stood before the crowd. I washed my hands. "I am innocent of this man's blood," I said. "See to it yourselves." But even as I said it, I felt the stain. They shouted back, "Let his blood be on us and on our children." They didn't know what they were saying. Or maybe they did. I gave the order, the lash, the cross, the march. He stumbled under the weight of it, and I stayed inside, thinking I had escaped my own guilt. But when the earth shook, when the sky turned black, when the temple veil tore from top to bottom, I knew he wasn't just a man. He wasn't just a teacher. He was who he claimed to be. I couldn't breathe that night. I tried to eat, drink, sleep, but all I could hear was his silence. I walked back to the basin, the same water, the same bowl. I washed again and again, but it wouldn't come off, because the blood wasn't on my skin. It was in my soul. Claudia wept for me. I saw it in her eyes. She knew I had lost something I couldn't get back. She held my hand, but I pulled away. I didn't deserve comfort. Rumors came that he had risen, that his tomb was empty, that the guard saw an angel. I silenced those rumors, publicly, but in my heart, they roared. What if he really was the Son of God? What if he had come to die and I helped him kill him? Rome never punished me. I was never removed. No trial, no exile. But my soul stood condemned. Some nights, I still feel the water on my hands. Some nights, I still hear the crowd. Some nights, I see his eyes. And I wake up sweating, shaking, wishing I had chosen differently. I thought neutrality was safety, but it was cowardice. I thought washing my hands would make me innocent, but it only made me more guilty. I was the only one who could have stopped it, but I didn't. I let fear win. I let politics win. I let myself off the hook while nailing him to the cross. And now, all I have are memories, not of a criminal, but of a king, not of rebellion, but of redemption, a redemption I rejected. I was Pilate, the man who washed his hands, but couldn't cleanse his heart. And if I could speak to you now, I'd say this. Don't make the mistake I did. Don't stay neutral when truth stands in front of you, because silence is after that day. Rome celebrated Passover as just another festival. But for me, it became the day my soul fractured. I told myself I had done my duty. I upheld order. But what I destroyed was justice itself. Every time I passed the courtyard, I could still hear the cries, "Crucify him." It echoed like thunder, even in silence. The basin I used to wash my hands, I had it thrown away, but it didn't matter, because the stain remained. One night, I saw him in my dream, not beaten, not bleeding, but clothed in light. He didn't accuse me. He just looked at me as if he still loved me. That was worse than judgment. How could he still look at me that way? After what I allowed, I told my guards never to speak his name around me. They obeyed, but they whispered. They always whisper. Some say he appeared to his disciples, that he ate with them, walked again, even forgave Peter, the one who denied him. If he forgave Peter, would he have forgiven me? But I didn't wait to find out. I handed him over. I distanced myself. I ran from truth and called it neutrality. I used to believe power meant control, that I held the world in my hands. Now I realize the only thing I held that day was fear. They wrote over his cross, "Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews." I ordered it, and I refused to change it. Maybe it was my last silent confession. The priests were furious. They wanted it changed. Say, he claimed to be king, they said. But I replied, what I have written, I have written. It was too late to be brave. But that sentence was the first honest thing I said that day. They say his followers are growing, that his words are spreading through the empire. I tried to stop one man. Now his name is on every tongue. Some call it hope, others heresy, but I call it memory. Not a week passes without my thoughts returning to him. Not a single week. I heard of one man, Saul, a persecutor, turned preacher. He claims the risen Christ spoke to him. He said, "It is hard to kick against the goads." I understand now. The more I resist, the deeper it pierces. I walk the halls of my palace, but I feel more like a prisoner than a ruler. The chains that bind me are unseen, but they are heavier than iron. I've seen men kill without guilt. I've seen tyrants laugh at blood. But I weep in secret. Rome may never judge me, but eternity will. And when I stand before him, will he look at me as he did that day? With sorrow or with mercy? I wonder, had I asked him to forgive me, would he have said yes? Had I stood for truth, would history remember me differently? Instead, I became a warning, a name whispered not with honor, but with regret. I was Pilate, governor, judge, coward, and no matter how many times I wash my hands, the blood of that innocent man still drips from my soul. Years have passed, new names, new titles, new rebellions, but one name never left me, Jesus. Some nights I hear his voice, but not in anger, in grief, as if he's still waiting for me to speak. I speak to him silently, in my mind, in shame, but I don't know if he listens. They say he forgives sins, even the worst of them, even murder, even betrayal. But how do you ask forgiveness from the one you sentenced to die? My soldiers once laughed at him, mocked him, dressed him in a purple robe. Now, some of them have become his followers. One of them, the centurion, he said, "Surely this was the Son of God." He knew before I did. He believed. And I, the judge, I refuse to see. I try to forget, bury myself in duty, law, and ceremony. But truth doesn't bury easily. It rises. Like him, Rome is afraid of his name, not because of rebellion, but because of resurrection. A kingdom not of swords, but of hearts. I used to think Rome was eternal. Now I wonder if his kingdom will outlive even Caesar. I remember his eyes the most, not his wounds, not the crown, but his eyes, unmoved, unbroken, unafraid. He looked at me as if he knew all my secrets, and still didn't turn away. Who looks at their executioner and offers compassion? He did, and that has haunted me more than his death. The basin, the water, the ceremony, they were empty. I thought I could remove my guilt with a gesture, but God doesn't deal in gestures. I judged him, but he was judging me, not with wrath, not with fire, but with truth. I've ruled over criminals, men who kill for greed, for rage, for pleasure. But me, I killed because I didn't want to lose favor. I killed to protect myself. What kind of man trades an innocent life for silence? Even now, when people look at me, they see the robe, the power, the title, but I feel like a man, naked before heaven. One day I will die, and I will stand before him, not as governor, but as a soul. I wonder, will he say my name, or will he look away? I fear the silence, even more than I once feared the crowd. If I had spoken up, truly spoken, would he have smiled at me? Now all I can do is tell you, don't wait. Don't wash your hands and call it righteousness. Stand for what's true, even if it costs you. I didn't crucify him with nails, but with silence, with fear, with cowardice dressed as order. I was Pilate, and though my hands touch water, my soul still bleeds.